I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com, and whether you're a Facebook lover or you're a stock Android lover, the HTC First by HTC and available at AT&T could be an ultimate device for you. Now, it's not a high-end device by any means, but it brings to the table Facebook Home out of the box, along with a Snapdragon 400 CPU, a 5-megapixel camera, and stock Android 4.1. Is it the must-have? We'll find out in the full video review, which starts right now. This is the HTC First, also known as the Facebook phone by Facebook, AT&T, and HTC, as you can see by the logos on the back. This thing retails for $99. It's available now at AT&T, and it comes in a couple of different colors: black, blue, white, and red. Now, it's a mid-range device when it comes to specifications, but a lot of people are going to like this for a couple of different reasons. One, it's Facebook Home out of the box. It's the only device where you can get the full experience out of the box at the point of sale. The application's available for the Galaxy S3, Galaxy S4, HTC One, One X, and One X Plus, but you can only get it out of the box on the HTC First. So a great value there for people that use Facebook on a regular basis. Also, you can disable Facebook Home, and underneath it is a stock version of Android 4.1 Jelly Bean. So if you're a stock Android fan, you want that 4G LTE connectivity that the Nexus 4 just couldn't quite provide on AT&T, this could be a unit for you. Now, just to give you a quick rundown of the specifications here, you've got a 1.4 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon 400 CPU on this device. You've got a 5-megapixel camera on the back with 1080p HD recording, a front-facing camera, 4.3-inch 720p HD display, micro USB charging port down here. Actually, not on the bottom. I take that back. I'm sorry. I'm so used to looking at the bottom of devices. It's not there. It's over on the right side with your micro SIM card slot, 3.5mm headphone jack, and power button up top, as you can see, and then volume rocker over here on the side. Before we get too far into it, special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like the HTC First for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, they'll make sure everything's set up and ready to go. It's called Walkout Working at Best Buy Mobile, and when you get your First, you'll get Facebook set up and ready to go and all your settings, so when you walk out the door, you don't have to waste time getting everything set up. So what we're looking at right now, Facebook Home running atop Android 4.1. And in part two, we'll talk more about stock Android, but just want to give you a look and feel of how this looks out of the box and what it would look like if you were going to use it with Facebook Home. So obviously you power it on right here and you can see Facebook Home running in full force. You've got a clock. I've got my chat head here, and then I've got my statuses, which I can double click to like. I can press and hold to see people's cover photos, or if it's an update of an actual picture, for example, let's say somebody posts a picture, it'll show me the full picture as well, and then cover photos there, as you can see, and then my updates and my notifications down here. So I've got Google Play notifications, I've got my menu down here, but Google Play and then Gmail as well. So when I turn it on, I can see missed calls, text messages, things like that, and I can double tap to open those right up, and you can see my email opens just like a normal Android device. Down here you've got 3 buttons, and they look a little bit different from traditional Android buttons. You've got back, you've got this button which opens up your applications, and then this far right button gives you the settings of Facebook Home, where you can enable things, disable things, home settings, and more. And then of course I have my update here as well, and I can swipe that to remove it. So I've got that, and then of course I can click on this and see my applications. Now, right out of the gate, it looks like it provides you with only a few applications, and what those applications are: phone, settings, maps, Chrome, all your Facebook stuff as you would expect, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, which is now part of Facebook, Google Play Store, camera, gallery. Then I've got my visual voicemail and my clock. So of course I can set alarms, right? Because everybody needs an alarm to wake up. Unfortunately, in the real world, you can't sleep all day long, but got the alarm functionality there. And then up here at the top, you've got the ability to change the status, your photo, and check in. So full Facebook integration right here, as you can see, with a keyboard on the 4.3-inch display. If you want to connect on Facebook, by the way, I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/hi Aaron Baker. That is my page. Check me out. I would love to have you as a fan. So you got the stuff here, and then of course I can scroll to the left as well and access my full menu area with calculator, calendar, all the stuff that you would expect from a typical Android device. And then when I'm back here, if I double tap up top or near the top, I can bring up my notifications bar. You can see AT&T Network ID and a stock Android looking notification bar with your settings right up here at the top and your time, and then of course AT&T running down here at the bottom. So again, running atop Android 4.1, and what's really nice about it, it's not running atop HTC Sense 5, or I should say Android 4.1 and HTC Sense 5. It's running a completely stock build of Android. So for example, we'll click here and you can see the shortcuts that my chat head can access: apps, Messenger, and then of course Gmail. And this one is a dynamic one that changes depending on what you accessed before. So we'll go into applications, for example. I can access those that way, or I can go into messages if I want to, or I can go into Gmail and just slide over and access those with my head. So that's super quick and easy to use. Now, overall build quality here is really nice. This device reminds me a lot of what the Palm devices would look like if WebOS were still in production, or even HP devices, something like a Pre 4, for example, or a Veer or something like that. I can really see that being the design language of that device. So the design of this device, a lot of people are gonna like. And again, like I said, Palm, HP kind of look and feel, and then of course HTC as well. If you remember the 1X, the 1X Plus, kind of that soft touch back that you would expect from an HTC product before the HTC One and its all metal and glass design. So it fits well in the hand. I think this will be great for a lot of people that are complaining, or they're frustrated that 4.7 or 4.8 inch displays are kind of the norm now, 5 inches, 5.5. This is a device that fits right in the hand, easy to use, very similar to kind of an iPhone look and feel for Android. So if you're somebody that wants a smaller device, this could be a great unit for you. Speaking of, let's take a look at the browser and a couple of different things on this device. And like I said, in part 2, we'll talk about stock Android 4.1. So phonedog.com loading up. This is a 4G LTE device. For whatever reason, my demo SIM card is not getting LTE, but you can see pinch to zoom, responsive all around, and granted, from a specification standpoint, this is kind of a mid-range device in a lot of ways. You got a dual-core Snapdragon 400 processor. It only has 1 GB of RAM. The battery is only 2,000 milliamp hours, but size-wise, it could be great for a lot of people, and keeping in mind it's running stock Android, no manufacturer-installed overlays. It's pretty zippy all around. I've had no real speed problems with this, whereas the HTC One X, for example, which only has 1 gig of RAM but had Sense 4 Plus, I did have some issues with speed. But browser's easy to use here. This is the Chrome browser out of the box that you would expect with stock Android, and then stock Android keyboard as well, the Jelly Bean keyboard, which is pretty quick and easy to type on. Hey there, how are you? Both in portrait and then in landscape, and you can again see how quickly it moves back and forth. Now, Facebook Home presents a few interesting issues. My question for a lot of people, and the question I would have even for you if you're watching this video, I like Facebook too. I catch up on my news with my friends. I catch up on how my family's doing around the world. It's a great tool all around, but what my question is how often do you use it on a daily basis? Do you use it enough to justify a full application that takes over most of the functionalities of your device? If you do, Facebook Home is going to be a decent option for you. If you're somebody like me that checks it 5 minutes a day or uses it for social media stuff for work, it's a little bit of a different equation, because I don't want this running my phone. I don't want this to be powered on top of my Android experience, or maybe at some point on top of my iOS experience or my Windows Phone 8 experience. So the question is, how much do people actually use Facebook? And even for those people that use it on a regular basis, is Facebook Home really the best implementation for an Android device? That is the question I would pose to you. Let me know what you think in the comments section. But you can see settings here, typical Android settings. I've got my Facebook account, my Google account set up, and then all I have to do is scroll right over here, come down here as you can see, hit more, and then from Facebook Home I can access stock Android 4.1. Now when I hit home again, it takes me right back to Facebook Home. So it's not completely turned off, but I can access it, let's say, for a one-time use purpose where I want to see my stock Android 4.1, and you can see it's completely stock with a couple of AT&T applications out of the box. My AT&T and visual voicemail pre-installed on this device, and of course you have your widgets as well, but a completely clean version of Android 4.1, as you can see right here, with 5 home screens, and then of course your notifications area up top and your dock down here at the bottom. Stay tuned for part 2. We're going to talk about camera, speed tests, and more. We're going to launch this sucker from stock Android, so you can take a look at the implementation of stock Android with Project Butter, Jelly Bean, on a mid-range device. You'll want to stick around for part 2.